Hello everyone, my name is Mila, I'm Ukrainian, and although I've been living in Ukraine now for a year and a half, I lived and worked in Germany. I was there as an au pair. I lived in a German-speaking family with two children, 11 and 13 years old, and my main task was to communicate with them, help them with school, and give them music lessons. At the beginning of my work in this family, my German level was approximately B1, B2. Before coming to Germany, I successfully passed the Goethe exam for B1 level and I got high marks. I was already quite fluent in German. I had absolutely no language barrier. However, on the first day of my communication with German children, I realized that I didn't understand what they were saying at all. It was a disaster. I just pretended to understand them, clung to some individual words, and somehow did my best to keep the conversation going. And by the way, I'm a musician by profession, and my ear of music didn't help me understand a foreign language. In this video, I'm gonna share with you how I managed to learn to understand German native speakers and what I still do to understand both English and German speakers. Give you tips that can help you improve your listening and comprehension skills. The first point that I wanna emphasize, and which not many people talk about, is the need for sharp attention and concentration. A foreign language is not a mother tongue where while listening we can be a little inattentive and still understand everything. I don't know about you, but I quite often notice that I don't listen to what is said in my native language carefully. So I don't catch everything what is said. I miss some moments. And our brain just gets used to it, that we can listen to somebody and be inattentive from time to time. But a foreign language is much harder to understand than our native language. Therefore, when you don't understand a foreign language enough, it doesn't mean that you just lack some knowledge and practice. It can also mean that you lack this ability to focus well on what is being said. Our concentration needs to be very sharp and continuous. For example, I was annoyed in Germany when I was choosing something in a store, I was in my own thoughts, and then suddenly a consultant said something to me in German. I didn't understand it right away because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't prepare my attention. And when I responded with my German, "Wie bitte?" the consultant started talking to me in English, and I answered that actually I know German. We foreigners try to understand a local language, try to speak it, even if we don't always succeed. So give us this opportunity to practice this language. So when listening to a foreign language, our ears need to be sharpened to the maximum if we want to understand everything. We should concentrate on listening as much as possible. But at the same time, our body should be completely relaxed, because excessive tension in the body will prevent us from concentrating and thinking correctly. The second point is, of course, regular training of our listening and comprehension skills. At first, before to learn to understand native speakers, how they speak in everyday life, we need to learn to understand slow, clear speaking or non-native speakers. It's easier to understand non-native speakers and it will be a good base for understanding native speakers. I really like to watch YouTube educational videos when grammar and vocabulary are explained only in a target language, not in my native language or in a language that I know well. Those who make such videos try to speak clearly and understandably, so you can watch such videos even at A1 level. It's very useful to listen to and read subtitles in a target language, so you can compare what you hear to what is written, and it will be easier for you to understand without subtitles. But you shouldn't overuse subtitles if you wanna train your listening and comprehension skills, not reading, and especially not listen with translated subtitles. Don't kid yourself. In this way, we don't train our listening and comprehension. There are many YouTube channels, other websites, apps that have audios, videos, movies adapted to certain levels for every taste. The main thing is Not to be lazy, but to sit down and search. It's very important to listen to different voices. Women's, men's, children's. This is so that we don't get used to only one voice, one pronunciation and one accent. For example, if we are learning English, we listen to both American and British pronunciations. We can also add Australian pronunciation. When we have learned to understand slow, clear speech or non-native speakers, we can move on to native speakers and more difficult speech. And here the choice is very wide. You should only watch and listen to what you personally like. You don't need to force yourself to watch something that you don't like, even if it can be very useful. The material shouldn't be too difficult for you. We develop gradually. I personally like watching different interviews on YouTube because there are new interesting people every time and therefore new pronunciations and new accents. And I like the format of the interviews. I also watch movies on Netflix that I like. It's a great pleasure to watch movies in the original. You hear the real voices of the actors and therefore you feel characters better. When my level of understanding of a foreign language is not yet good enough, I watch movies and interviews with native speakers according to a certain plan. First, I watch a piece of video without subtitles. Then, I watch the same thing with subtitles in a target language. When there is something unclear, I look up for translation, and when there is a lot of confusion on Netflix, I can turn on subtitles in my native language. When I come across some interesting phrases that I would like to use in my own speech, I take a screenshot and later write it down. Then I watch the same thing again without subtitles. This way I consolidate all the material. The important thing is that you don't have to understand everything. You may come across some difficult words and terms that are not important for you. At first, it's difficult to understand native speakers because there is a lot of new vocabulary, idioms, reduction, new pronunciation, unclear articulation, but with practice it becomes easier and easier. The main thing is to train your listening comprehension regularly and systematically. I train my listening in English, German, and Spanish every single day, without exception. It's much more important for me than reading and writing, because I can use some help for reading and writing, but with listening it doesn't work well. In a conversation with someone, you shouldn't hesitate to ask to repeat something if you don't understand it. In Germany, I had several really unpleasant situations when I didn't understand something. I was embarrassed to ask to repeat it, and then I suffered a lot because of it, even though I already had a C1 certificate. Even with high level of German, I often don't understand something, and I consider it normal because we learn all our lives. I thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to my channel. And share your experience. How do you train your listening comprehension skills, and do you find it difficult to understand native speakers? And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!